What was the dumbest rule your school had? You had to wear your blazer at all times. Unless you had a teacher's permission to take it off. I remember one summer a kid fainted at break time because he was so hot and a teacher had threatened him with detention if he didn't wear it. We were all pretty surprised the rule lasted. My school does this. Except the blazer is thick and black and we have to have a jumper on for half the year. Shit sucks. Man. In high school my school banned salt. Not salt in the food they sold. Of which I'm sure there was plenty. Just salt shakers on cafeteria tables. Kids started bringing in their own from home and charging by the shake on the cafeteria black market. Meanwhile, that same year they installed a new slushy machine because apparently adding salt to your meal was a major health concern but pure sugar in liquid form was totally fine. We had a one-way system in the corridors. It became dumb when the class you had next was literally one room back the way. But the teachers stood at the doors like ducking prison guards. Had to walk around the whole school. School was a big square. Just to get to a room you were a ducking plank's length away from in the first place. Edit. Loads of people are asking. The school was Douglas Academy in Milngavie. Which is Scotland. Milngavie is pronounced Milngavie. The middle school I went to had a policy that literally said this verbatim to students of all ages: please try to conceal erections accordingly. For about half a year my school went through this fad where it was cool to get a random boner in class. If kid got a hard on he would get up in class and walk around proudly. The boys thought it was hilarious, the girls were so uncomfortable. About 1/4 of the boys would do this. I don't even need a rule to hide my boner. Boners popping up in school are the worst. The word boring was banned. You got in trouble for using it. The teachers wanted to make school seem fun by introducing ludicrous rules that make basic conversations a bit trickier. At one point we had a new head teacher come in. She clearly wanted to try and make a mark. So her big initiative was that all the students would come into their class, stand behind their chairs, and the teacher would wait until everyone was quiet before telling them to sit down. It does not take a genius to figure out that this was a great way to waste 5 minutes of each lesson as the teachers got more and more frustrated with reaching silence. And remember, this is every lesson, so 5 minutes 5 times per day. Every day of the week being wasted for no reason. Gradually the teachers just stopped bothering. I don't think there was an official decision, but it phased itself out. We weren't allowed to have fundraisers for a specific cause club. The school believed that if we had, say, a fundraiser for the robotics club, we wouldn't get as much money for the football team. So instead, all fundraising went into a general pot that was supposed to be divided out to the clubs and stuff in a fair manner. Somehow the football, basketball, baseball team always had enough money for buses, uniforms, banquets, etc, but robotics, speech and debate, mock trial had barely enough money to enroll in competitions. We still had to pay for our own rides, meals, banquets and everything else. Eventually, a lot of parents just stopped giving. We no longer have hardly any fundraisers. And the rule is still in effect. And the school doesn't understand why people won't give any money. No skinny jeans because the shape of the female calf is too exciting for the male student body. Such bullshit. School starts at 9 AM. A minute after 8:50 and you are officially late. Guys couldn't put gel in their hair. The school also had the rule that guys' hair couldn't be long enough to touch their collar, so some kids worked around it by gelling, gluing whatever their hair into all sorts of styles that didn't let the hair touch the collar. So they banged gel. They also eventually banged hair ties or covers for guys, but that rule got rescinded quick thanks to a couple of Sikh students we had. My school had a huge announcement about acceptable dances again. The school dance, goosing, was one of the dances mentioned. We had no idea what goosing was. Our innocent second year homeroom teacher asked us to look it up. The definition we found had a two-partner dance where one person would, from behind, would reach between a dude's leg and jerk his big dick backwards. Our school taught about 1,200 kids about a dance where you grab a dude's big dick, No visible cell phones on school property. Even when school is over. I got chased down the hall by a teacher demanding I give him my phone because I called my dad for a ride home 10 minutes after school was over. There was a rule in our school from a more agricultural time where any student that rides a horse to school has the right to have the school tend to the horse for the day. Since the school had been remodeled, there was no longer a stable, and obviously my school didn't have anything set up to take care of horses anymore, so when a farmer kid rode one and it was a rich owl, they quickly removed that rule from the books lol. Zero tolerance policy. Yup. A friend of mine got sucker punched and they suspended him along with the attacker. If anything, I feel that the rule encourages fighting. If tomorrow someone punches me in the hall, I'm going to try to beat the shit out of him because it's the same punishment whether I do nothing or beat him unconscious. So I might as well get some hits in. Socks must be plain. If it had that Nike logo, you'll get sent to the principal's office. I'm trying to imagine the thought process of a fully grown adult deciding it was worth anyone's time to police what socks children wore. We had a fantastic hill next to our elementary school. But we also had a specific rule that we couldn't go down it. No walking. No running. No log rolling. No somersaulting. No cartwheeling. We could be at the bottom or the top, but not on the slope itself. Going down hills was too dangerous for 5-11-year-olds. We went there to sled on snow days though. It felt like sweet rebellion. No camo. It only lasted 48 hours. After that, they couldn't find the culprits anyway. You can buy school sweaters but you can't wear them in school. Show your school pride. Not here though. We had a fantastic system for snow days. We were only allowed to have snowball fights in a very small area. The rules were that the snowballs could not be any larger than your thumb. You could only throw them underarm. And you were not allowed to throw snowballs above the knees. Also no snowmen, because they could fall over and hurt someone. I went to a school with a uniform. During the winter, we could wear light cardigans with the uniform. However, we're told we couldn't ever wear sweatshirts, because you could hide Drew guts in the hood and it was a serious safety issue. The school was in the north and had a real heating issue. Students were always complaining about being too cold during class. The staff then realized they could monetize the issue by selling school brand sweatshirts. Suddenly they weren't dangerous anymore. I once got a dress code violation for wearing Bon Jovi shirt that had a dagger on it. So whatever rule that was. Private school in Australia, we had to wear our school blazer for the entire winter term, to and from school, so if you were spotted waiting for the bus etc. Bus stops were right outside, you could get a detention. Thing is, look at that first sentence. Australia, it gets stucking hot here. Even when it's supposedly winter. And I had a teacher approach me at the bus stop and tell me to put my blazer back on, and I practically cried. I was like 13, because it was so hot. Zero tolerance for fights. Even if some duck punches you and you do nothing in retaliation, you still get expelled and have to go to the shitty last resort high school for piece of shit gangbangers whose next stop is jail prison. When I was in middle school, there were too many fights in the hallways. The solution? Take away locker breaks. So you had to carry around like 8 books. Your notebooks. Pencil pouches. etc. with you all day. To top it off, you couldn't bring a bag or satchel or a purse. In elementary school at Reckies they wouldn't let us use the slides. Also in middle school for a solid week they wouldn't let us talk at lunch. Sometimes I wonder why the people in our education system do what they do. My middle school constantly had silent lunches. The assistant principals and some of the teachers would just be yelling silent lunch whenever someone spoke. And if they caught the person talking, they were taken to the cafeteria's detention room. And we had those types of lunches so often for no particular reason. It was mind-bogglingly terrifying and annoying. Boys could not wear shorts in 37°C heat but girls could wear pants or skirts. So we wore skirts and enjoyed a few days off. No leggings. Not no leggings as pants. Just no leggings. I got in trouble because I was wearing them instead of tights. Under a dress which went at least to my knees. The best part was, they didn't give us any notice about it, they just announced it one morning. And started taking names a few hours later. No breakdancing during lunch break. I went to school in a high school movie. We had a French teacher who had a rule against putting your backpack in the aisles between the desks. If you did, she'd pick it up and throw it across the room. Because hitting a window or a kid was better than leaving enough space for her fat butt to walk between the desks. Anyway, one kid got the smart idea of loading his backpack with weights from the weight room. Supposedly she couldn't lift it. Then hurt her foot trying to kick it. Kid got in trouble. But I never heard anything about her enforcing that rule after that. Shorts were banned for years in all the schools in the county. Even for guys, as the girls were wearing shorts too short. They also banned wearing white tees, saying it was gang related. Red shirts, Bloods. Blue shirts, Crips. Black shirts, Gangster Disciples. And green shirts, Latin Kings, were all okay though. I was in a Christian school. And they didn't let us read anything with traces of magic or anything that went against God's word, for example. I didn't read Harry Potter until much later on because I wasn't allowed to in elementary and high school. Same thing here. But my parents' rules. No Harry Potter. No Disney princesses. No Star Wars. etc. I turned 16 and decided to be a rebel and went to a friend's house and watched all the Disney movies I could. Only brown belts allowed. And the most ridiculous one. No hairstyles allowed for boys. Leave your nappy hair the way it is. At my high school they had limited parking. In Canada it's conceivable you could have a car and license at 17, so it was a problem. They made a rule that students could only bring their cars to school some set number of days a year. I think it was 10. But they didn't do anything beyond that. No designated staff parking spots. No etc. You just got there first. Some guy walked through the parking lot later and wrote down the license plate S, and that was it. So you'd get to something like a day with a football game. All the kids would get there early and there would be no parking for the teachers. It was such a stupid system and never corrected during my time there. It wasn't in place when I started. But my college used to require that all freshmen pass a swimming test. I was told that a wealthy alumni couple had donated a large sum of money in their son's name. He passed away after drowning in a lake because he was unable to swim. One of the stipulations of the gift is that all freshmen must be able to swim. When I was in elementary school, there used to always be an ice cream truck parked right outside of the main school gate. Great. Right? No. The school had prohibited anyone from buying ice cream because there were kids who couldn't afford any. So it would be unfair. After my high school closed, some friends and I went to a small Christian school for our senior year. Hindsight hilarity ensued as we asked thought-provoking questions and questioned the literally unlicensed teachers. After graduating, my friends and I found out we sparked a revolutionary renaissance among the underclassmen. They began questioning their secular teachings and, in response, the teachers developed new rules that literally silence and torture, hyperbole, but still applicable, the students. Feels good. We weren't allowed to bring newspapers to sporting events. Apparently when the visiting team was announced at a basketball game, the home section all raised newspapers and ignored them. In less than 10 years this rule will feel to high school kids what the Arkansas law that you can beat your wife with a stick no thicker than your thumb feels like to everyone else. We once had a lockdown incident at a small rural school where this never happens, because a student wrote a threat against the principal on a bathroom stall door. For the rest of the year, you would get detention if you brought a pencil into the restroom. We would take class restroom breaks so the teachers could make sure no one went in with a pencil on them. Because if someone wanted to write a threat somewhere in the school they couldn't do it literally anywhere else. What a pointless waste of everyone's time. My school had a dress code where boys wore jackets and ties and girls had to wear dresses. They finally relaxed it a bit and let girls wear pants and blazers during the winter. All the girls came in with their cute jackets on the first day of winter semester. But the school cracked down because they said that blazer only meant navy blue jackets with brass buttons.